Coffee podcast. Every week, you will have one disruptive aspect of technology and artificial intelligence for the time to drink a cup of coffee. Today, we are going to be alone, you and me. As I mentioned a couple of episodes ago, this season, the third season, is going to be a little bit different. So we are not going to talk only about interviews, which I found really interesting, and you will be listening for more in the next episodes. But also there's going to be these short episodes talking about one disruptive aspect of technology, of course, but maybe more in the news, more actual, or more maybe, let's say, could create a debate for you. So this is a little bit more intimate discussion about something with you and me, only us. So I hope you like it. So this episode, we are going to talk about something which is really extremely trendy. We are going to talk about the US elections and how AI could change it. And I think this is really valuable even further because the US elections, if you are listening to this episode at the time it will be published, it's going to be tomorrow. So really now, in this week. But maybe it's going to be valuable even for other elections worldwide, in other countries, in other periods in the year. And now just also for creating this context for you that maybe are watching this in a couple of months or years later. We are at the end of 2024. So if now AI could have an impact on AI could have an impact on politics and democracy, I can imagine that maybe in the next years it's going to be even more. So let's stay in contact. Maybe in a couple of years or months, I will create another episode talking about this with more and new things. So just I will start talking about the implications, let's say, from the technical perspective, how a politician, a democracy could be beneficial or, let's say, harmed because of AI. And then little by little, we are moving to the ethical aspects that maybe will create a small debate with you. And this is something also I want to do at the end of the episode. If you want to comment on the theme, on the topic, I invite you to do it on comments. But also, I think the most important thing is that it could create an internal debate with yourself. So yeah, let's go for that. So I have done a research about how AI and even before big data was used in democratic elections. And of course, it's very used. So the first, I think, first campaign that was benefit from data, let's say, more in a broad world, it was Barack Obama first election. And it was, I think, at the end of the 28 or something like that. So it was just, let's say, 16 years ago, which is not a lot, but in terms of technology, it's really a lot. So it was the first campaign that they were using data for tracking, for having a better approach about what the people wanted to have and wanted to vote. So apparently there are a lot of books written about that. I have read a couple of years ago one whose name is The Victory Lab. So I recommend it to you if you want to know more about this. But this decade, let's say, of course, more and more politicians, more and more democracies were using data for the tracking, for obtaining trendy topics that maybe it would be beneficial for creating the program and for the discourses and all that stuff. But how about AI? Because AI, of course, let's say all AI, machine learning was used for decades. But how about generative AI? Because I think this is the first election in the US where AI, generative AI, is really like for all, that everyone could create a picture, could create a deepfake, could create a text. So now I was wondering, how was everything related nowadays with AI, right? So just to give you small technical details, and I will go little by little. So if you have any question, also let me know. So maybe in the next episode, I will explain more about one of these topics. But I will explain different things, different ways that for this campaign and also maybe in other campaigns during this year and next years, AI is going to be used for politics. So this is a good thing. I don't want to be pessimistic. I'm not this kind of person saying that AI is going to be a disaster in the world. Of course not. But it's something that we need to be aware of. So the first thing is that AI was used in this campaign for targeting voters. And I have found a very interesting use case in a Kamala Harris campaign. So, as far as I saw in some articles, Kamala Harris' campaign was using AI for tracking, for targeting people, let's say, in possible and potential voters in the whole country, and creating videos with specific, say, topics. So, if, for example, you were targeted as one kind of person, I don't know, maybe you are a young person in the US and you are studying in university and you are very concerned about the debt, for example. So maybe this discourse is going to be adapted. So maybe on TikTok or in the media, you will be listening only this like a small speech of 1 minute talking about the topic that concerns you. Also, if you are, I don't know, an old person and in that case you are concerned about healthcare, for example, you are going to listen in your media, maybe which is going to be TikTok, it's going to be Facebook, I don't know. So in that media, you are only watching the things that concerns you. So this for this time, AI have created the environment for directly giving you the messages that you needed to listen for voting. Let's say instead of before that, maybe this is the traditional way you see a piece of paper in the street or an announcement on the TV or something like that, trying to address into all. And of course, this is still going. But on the other hand, they created a system for targeting the voters and directly giving this message to them, which I think is really, really effective. So this is the first time, the first way AI was used in the US elections, and maybe in your next elections in your country, your city, the next ones that we are going to have. So the second way, they were using, and in this case, I have read that this was used for both campaigns, the Donald Trump's campaign and Kamala Harris ones. So both campaigns were using predictive analytics for understanding like the behavior of the voters and how everything was moving during the last days, weeks. There's a lot of polls in the US. The system is very complicated, so we're not going to talk about that. But there's like plenty of podcast media talking about that, about how everything works. But which I tell you, it's very relevant. For example, in this specific point, is that there are specific states in the US that are very relevant when we have an elections, and they change from one election to another. But the thing is that the states that are around, let's say 50-50 from one potential president and the other one, so really, really half, these ones are really relevant because the party, the politician that wins in this case, maybe for, I don't know, 2 votes or 1 vote, this state takes all the votes from this state. And this is known, the winner takes it all, as the ABBA song. So maybe you have this reference. But the thing is that it's very relevant for the two parties, the two main parties, to know which are the relevant states to make an effort to push everything on these states, because in the ones that, for example, are winning by a lot or losing by a lot, it's a waste of time and waste of money to do campaign there, because they know that it's very complicated to change to them to win. For example, if they are losing by, I don't know, 20%, for example, it's very complicated. Or the opposite, if they are winning by that 20%, it's completely a waste of money and time to still trying to convince people there, because they are winning by a lot. So they are forecasting, let's say, state by state, but not even state by state. They're trying to forecast the behavior of even a city, even a county, a small, maybe I don't know, a small street that maybe they need to focus on this street because maybe this is the point where they forecast that it's going to be everything. So in these specific elections, all the polls says that it's more or less half possibilities for both. So it's very, very relevant. And they have used a lot machine learning and AI to try to predict where to go, when to go also, and how much money to put from the campaign in these specific points. Because maybe these small spots are going to give the key of the White House to one or the other potential president. So this is the second way. The third way, which maybe it's the one that you have maybe thought when you were listening and where you were starting this episode, is deepfakes. I don't know if you're familiar with this word, but deepfakes are this kind of photos or I don't know, audio message, everything that could be like an imitation of someone saying something that is not real, or maybe a photo of someone with I don't know with another person that is not real, but it looks like. So with AI now, the techniques are really, really good, and AI is able to create really good deepfakes, even like so good that sometimes they could create problems to a person. If, for example, this is a very bad picture, maybe you are I don't know sitting next to a dictator, for example, or I don't know something like that. So it could really, really create like a problem in your campaign if you are a politician, or even, I mean, it could be even further for famous people, for companies, for business people. So it could be for everyone. But in this specific case, for the US elections, I have seen in many media that apparently, officially, the campaign from Kamala Harris didn't use it, but Donald Trump's campaign, they use it a lot. So even in the Donald Trump's Twitter or X account, there are a lot of pictures of Kamala Harris, for example, talking with Stalin or Lenin or something like that. Or you will see also, if you go, there is a lot of pictures in Google. So you just go for it, Google it, and you will laugh a lot because there is a lot of materials that, of course, they are not true. I mean, and they are not real. And it's impossible of being like, I mean, that these materials are real, of course, because Lenin was dead a lot of years ago. So, of course, it's completely impossible. But still, even if these materials are not real, and even as if we are able to understand that they are not real, they could create some links and some connections. So maybe there is an ethical also aspect about that, because even if, I mean, it could be first some materials that are really, really similar and possible. So the person in that picture would really need to prove that this is not true, and this is a waste of money, a waste of time, and also it's complicated to handle that. So first, if they are really, really realistic, it's very hard. But then if they are not realistic, even as I mentioned before, the ones with Lenin and all that stuff, even that, it could create an emotional and like a link in our mind, so we connect to people, to persons that have, of course, in the case of Lenin, has political a political aspect behind. So of course they work. So even if you laugh because you can think that they are completely unreal, even that they could, of course, create some connections in our mind that maybe pass behind the scenes. Okay, so this is the point, and I have seen many. I recommend you to go. Also, this is something funny I have found. It's like, I don't know if you remember. I think it was around September. There was a point of on the campaign where Taylor Swift, singer, sorry, decided to be with Kamala Harris and wrote something on Twitter, I think. So at that time, like the next week, a lot of deepfakes appear from Taylor Swift and Taylor Swift fans, Swifties, trying to, like, with T-shirts saying, I am with Donald Trump on Republicans and something like that. And it's, of course, a way to create noise on the media, and also to, in that specific time and the specific point, to try to convince people that maybe not all Swifties are with Kamala Harris, and trying to create this specific noise. So they work, right? And I recommend you to go because there's like a lot. Then I will also talk about one important point. So we talk about three different ways already how AI was used in the US elections. But now I have also another point which I think is really relevant, and is AI and regulation. Because this is like the elephant in the room, that apparently, I haven't followed every day on the media the US elections, but as far as I have read in the media, AI is a topic, it's a very relevant topic, and how it could be regulated or not, or controlled or conceived. And in this specific campaign, it passes like nothing. Like no one really talked about that, even though the specialist says, and I have read that, and also as something also related to both ideology, let's say, of the specific of the competitors for being a president, is like, if Donald Trump wins this campaign, this for being a president in these elections, AI is possible not going to be regulated in the US the way Kamala Harris would do. So also AI is in the sense of how it is going to be maybe in the next 4 years in the world about AI, because of course US is leading the AI competition nowadays, is one of the countries where AI is more developed, with, for example, OpenAI, Microsoft, and many other companies like that are leading nowadays AI. So the way AI is going to be regulated or conceived is possible going to be very different. So some experts says that if the Democrats win, maybe in the next 4 years, they're going to be leading somehow U.S. government a global regulation or a global initiative for trying to understand how AI should be ethical, perceived, let's say, and regulated, of course. But then, on the other hand, if Donald Trump wins, experts says that and forecast that maybe AI is not going to be regulated as much, and maybe as Donald Trump is more protectionist, the regulation, if there is some regulation, is there going to be only for US, and he's not going to push some regulations for the global perspective or something like that. So also AI is there, and it's very relevant. The future of AI, let's say. And then the last point I will tell you, and this is something for creating a small debate, and also let me know your thoughts and in comments, and also you can write me a message or something. Um, I want to be optimistic. So the fifth point is the future of AI in politics. So ideally, AI would be able to create a participation environment where almost everyone would be able to interact with a president, for example, using an AI agent, for example, or chatbots. Also would be able to be connected, let's say, with an institution, with a town hall, with wherever. And also it would be easier for everyone to try to be part of the democracy. So for example, the system nowadays, the normal, let's say, system in most of the democratic countries, is related to like every 4, 5, 6 years, something like that. There is an election, and the electors vote, and the majority of the electors decide directly or indirectly a person or a group of persons that are leading and making decisions. So why maybe if AI is able to, instead of directly giving, let's say, 5 years of like decision, like for the decision makers, like 5 years, so do whatever you want. Why if maybe this is maybe possible to be controlled by electors in the small detail, little by little. So, for example, why if every small law would be able to be voted, let's say, or um, at least communicated and explained to everyone because of AI? Because AI is working nowadays very well, and it could be a potential, let's say, a push for democracy in that sense, if we really work that, if we really work that way. And also another point for the future, let's say, is that okay, we know that we have deep fakes. Why, if deep fakes are even better in terms of technology in the next years? I already said that this is today is 2024. For example, ChatGPT came only 2 years ago, and a lot of this technology, we know that it really changes exponentially every day. So I'm really afraid, for example, in my case, about why, when we are going to be able to clone voices from people really, really well. Nowadays we can, but not maybe so nice. So maybe almost everyone is able to understand if this is the real or the unreal voice. So okay, maybe it's not so dangerous. But why, when we are going, everyone is going to be able to clone, I don't know, Donald Trump's or Kamala Harris or wherever, whoever, every person voice, for example, and create a video with a deep fake, which maybe looks really real? What's going to happen then that moment? And we need to be prepared, because this moment is going to be maybe next month. So maybe we need to be prepared for that. And in my case, also, for saying something good, because I was saying something good for the future, I think that AI is going to help us understanding these deepfakes. So it's going to be harder, because little by little these deepfakes are going to be better, almost perfect. But even if they're almost perfect, they are not going to be perfect. And if AI is able to create them, AI is also able to tag them and to know that they are not real. But this is also like, this a balance we need to be really aware of, that these technologies are really pushing high, are really going further little by little. But okay, we also need these also, say, control technologies that could be looking at the media, the material, everything everyone is creating, and also being, let's say, controlling that all of these things are using not for harming or for trying to create noise or create lies or create deep fakes, but to really push in the good way, doing good things, and not really against the democracy or against us. So I hope you like this episode. This is a small, let's say, a small piece of data, a small piece of information for you, for giving you, let's say, a small perspective about the AI and politics. And I really think that this is going to be valuable even in the other countries, not only in the US, not only in 2024. So be aware of that, and think a bit about how AI could be beneficial or not in the use of democracy. So hope you like it. If you liked it so much, also subscribe to the podcast. This is really helpful for me. And share it with your friends, push like, say some comments, and yeah, let's see in the next episode, which is going to be again another interview with someone who is really, really nice. So hope you liked it. See you soon. Bye bye.